If you've ever wanted someone to change for you, or you've changed for somebody else, this video is definitely for you. So let's talk about it. First of all, you cannot, you can, because we've all done it. If this would be different, if this person could just do this, if this person could do blank, yada, 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 if they would just go to therapy, if they would just go to rehab, if they would just not go out as much, like all of these things, you really want them to change. And you could look at it, and I don't think it's all like manipulative. I think sometimes you're like if you take yourself out of it and you're like, oh God, I just want them to get better for them. But they have to want to, and so do you. Because if not, let me tell you, and that's in any relationship. This could be a adult-child relationship. This could be a parent relationship. This could be a intimate relationship, friends. A person, it has their own autonomy. This isn't like a boundary where you're like, hey, don't talk to me that way, or I'm not going to have a conversation with you. That's not changing. Changing is like, I need them to do this, and I want them to do that for me. Now, the reality is you also don't have to put up with it. You don't have to deal with it. You can say, okay, this is not serving my best and highest good. And if it's not serving your best and highest good, then it's not serving your best and highest good. Then you have to distance from it. See, the kicker is you have to be able to accept that they may not change for themselves. Okay? And that's the big thing, is you have got to remember that when you change yourself for another person, it carries this level of expectations. Like, I did this for you and you're not giving me stuff back. And I see this on a regular basis. And you have to be really, really careful of changing for another person. I see it all the time. Like, I really do. And like in my clients, they're like, yeah, but you know what? I did this and this and this. And then they just ended up not appreciating it because you didn't do it for you. That's for anything. If you say today, I want to lose weight. Let's say you're like, I want to lose weight. I hear it all the time. I'm like, okay, well, why? Why do you want to lose weight? Well, if you say, oh, I just want to feel better. I don't even care about how you look. Like, it shouldn't not be about looks. That's a byproduct. But if you're like, I just want to feel better. Like, I just feel heavy. I just feel, cool. The moment you say, well, my husband or my friend, they said that I need to lose weight. Not the right reason. If you do anything for another human being, it's going to carry resentment and high levels of expectation. That's on your part, right? That's where you're like, yeah, but I did this. Like, this is what they asked for. I gave them this and it still wasn't enough. That's what you have to remember. It may never be enough because they need you to change because they're not good within themselves, right? Now, I'm not saying because you don't want to deal with somebody who has a gambling problem that you're not good with yourself. That's different. I'm saying that if somebody goes, I need you to lose weight, well, that could be their preference, but they need you to lose weight so they feel like they look better. Like, that's not okay, right? Now, if you have somebody who has a gambling problem or a drinking problem, things like that, you don't go, hey, if you don't get help, I'm going to leave. That's a true statement. But instead of laying it out that way, because it sounds very like, if you don't do this, ultimatum me, right? Nobody responds to ultimatums. I mean, if you do, it's going to backfire on you in the long run. But you could say, hey, some areas in my life that I'm growing in is I need to have clarity, and I need to make sure that there's clarity around me. And I know that you enjoy your drinking, but it just doesn't really align with what I'm doing right now. And, I love you, but it isn't going to benefit me in the long run. So I think this might be the area where we stop this relationship. See, that's the thing. You got to remember, you don't have to put up with it. So I'm not asking you to just be like, well, screw it, I'm just going to put up with it. No, but you got to be careful of these authoritative, if you don't do this, I'm leaving. If you do this, I'm doing this. It becomes a game. Now, that's relationships as far as intimacy. It could be the same thing with your mom. Let's say I'm 52. Let's say you're 52 and your mom is still doing the same pattern she's done for the last 75 years of her life. And you keep saying, why won't mom do blank? Because she doesn't have to. And if she starts to do it, it's going to become this, I did this for you. You wanted me to do this. I did this. It's not good enough. Blah, 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 blah. It's going to become a back and forth. All right. And it breeds resentment on the highest of levels. I've seen it, and psychologically proven it breeds resentment, right? So you could say, yeah, that's what you could say. You could say something to them, to mom, like, hey, mom, this is where the boundaries are going to come in. Mom, hey, I love you and I appreciate you. But these conversations that we have about how dad left you 25 years ago for the younger woman, I'm no longer going to have those conversations. Now, that's a boundary. Okay? That's a boundary. That's not an ultimatum. That's not an ultimatum. An ultimatum would be like, if you don't stop talking about dad, I am never talking to you again. It's the same thing, but one is laid out as a boundary and one is laid out as an ultimatum. When you have a boundary, you're not emotionally engaging. When you have an ultimatum, you're emotionally engaging, right? If you do this, then this. And I'm telling you, I've seen people go into therapy who do not want to be there, and they do so for, I don't necessarily mean young children, because they don't really want to be anywhere. I mean, in adults, maybe it's an adult child, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a sister, it's a friend. And number one, they're not going to get a lot out of it because they don't want to be there. They'll get a little something out of it. But remember, therapy, rehab, other places like that are only as good as the effort that the person is putting in. Got to know that. And if a person is doing it for you, then it's going to become problematic because they're not really doing it for the right reasons. And if you don't do things for you, if you don't create boundaries for you, if you don't do your wellness for you, if you're not doing things for yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to maintain a relationship of unconditional relationships. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself right now, okay? I really want you to ask yourself this question. Look around you at the people you have, and I don't mean work, because there's going to be a lot of toxicity on a regular basis just from randoms. But I'm saying, look around you in your relationships of all areas, your adult relationships, your parenting relationships, is there something, you got to be honest with yourself, is there something that you are trying to push someone into changing that but you don't really care, but that they don't know that they want to do that for themselves? And then is that something that you can tolerate until they figure it out? It might not be a deal breaker. Everything's not a deal breaker. Then fine. But then take your ego and sit in the back seat. Shh, be quiet. If it's something that seems like, oh my God, they're drinking too much, they're gambling, they're mentally abusive, then, that's an easy brainer. That's not a no-brainer. That's an easy brainer. But you have to ask yourself why you want to hold on to it. So you got to ask yourself, am I waiting for someone to change? Am I trying to push them to change? Even though I know it's going to be in their best interest, but it's also what I want them to do. And if that's the case, then you're going to have to make some decisions. Okay? In the same breath, are you people pleasers? This is for you. Are you trying to change yourself for other people? Are you trying to change yourself to make other people happy? Because let me tell you, the moment you do that, ask yourself this question. So if you can't, first of all, if you could make everybody happy, what are you gaining from that? Oh, well, they would love me. They would like me. Right. So there's an underlying reason why you're doing it. Right? If someone says, I want you to stop hanging out with your girlfriend and going to play pickleball, why? Why would you do that? Well, they don't like when I'm away. Who cares? So that's going to go into your security, your confidence, your self-esteem. So I need you to do those two things. And I think you'll find, but you got to be honest with yourself. See, that's the kicker. You'll be able to ask yourself and be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I want to do these things. Do you? Do you really? Are you doing them because somebody else thinks you should? Are you trying to change them because that's what you want to feel better? Well, there's going to come a point in time where you have to say to yourself, with my ego and with my attachment or with other things, what can I accept? What do I need to accept? And is this something that I want to continue? And is this something that I need to just get out of? You're allowed to mourn it. You're allowed to be upset about it. But this is all going to be based on what you feel that you are capable of dealing with And if you're ready to change, then change. And if you're not, don't.